It's Debbie Levitt from Delta CX, and welcome to the first podcast of 2021. We kind of made it, didn't we? It's January 11th, 2021. This is episode 91, Bizarre CX and UX Predictions for 2021. And I'm not alone on this one. I have two hilarious guests who are going to join me in lampooning all of the predictions that we found. Let me bring them in so they can introduce themselves. We've got Stéphanie Walter, who some of you have seen before, like in episode, I think it was 51 about surveys, and Ben Smithwell, who's new to the family. So thank you both. Stéphanie, let's start with you. Tell us why you're fantastic.
The hair, obviously.
Yes.
So, hi, I'm Stéphanie Walter. So, S-T-E acute or just E, P-H-A-N-E. No, I-E, or Walter, W-A-L-T-E-R, something like that. I'm a UX designer living in Luxembourg, and I'm kind of specialized in mobile design and still working remotely at the moment.
Okay, we trust you. Follow her on LinkedIn. Where else can we find you quickly? You're in Pixel Trust, right?
No, that's that's kind of Instagram, but it's not interesting. No, usually it's Twitter or LinkedIn.
Okay, find her there.
Unless you like food.
And food. Okay, Ben, tell us all about you.
Hey, my name is Ben Smithwell, B-E-N-S-M-I-T-H-W-E-L-L. Not the single L, the double L, extra value. So the most important thing you need to know about me is that I think 5 years ago, I was voted as having the third best goatee in CX. The third best. I think it might have slid a bit since then. I'm not sure. I need to work on my goatee game. Anyway, I'm a kind of a customer experience transformation and service design kind of dude. And that's about it. But mainly the goatee.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad we had you on then. For all the people listening to the audio version tomorrow, I'll just fill in and say he's got some facial hair. And we've got some people joining in the chat already. I see Dingu in the LinkedIn chat and Ralitza and Shaleen in the YouTube chat. So we came up with this some weeks ago, the three of us, when we all, maybe it was when the Fjord thing came out, but we were all like, holy cats, what is going on with liquid infrastructure? So we found that Fjord had this website where they were giving you, Fjord is a well-known agency for people who don't know, or maybe not that well-known if you don't know. And they have their trends for 2021. I'm going to read some of them out loud and then I'll have you react to them. Trend 1, collective displacement, helping people find their place with the right experiences. Is that a trend?
It sounds like a lot of very, very confused people. I think
I have to open the website to read that.
Oh yeah, that's it's on the Accenture website. Trend 2, do-it-yourself innovation, enabling people to get creative with the way they live.
Again, another strong trend there. This isn't just words that they've picked up out of a dictionary and put into a sentence or a header.
It's the fridge magnet poetry. Yes,
I like the
fridge magnet trend setting.
Sweet.
It's kind of
IKEA
effect. It's like kind of IKEA effect. Like, isn't innovation better if you do it yourself or something? Maybe.
Right. It sounds very high on privilege to me. Like, oh, do your own innovation. Let's see. We are also joined by Monique and Vishal and my boyfriend and Stephanie's boyfriend and Shannon and I think that's your boyfriend and Dominic in LinkedIn says it's a trend for Fjord and Accenture. This is of course the company who couldn't make a responsive website for Hertz. So true. Fjord's next trend is interaction wanderlust. Bring joy and serendipity from the real world to the screen. Kids, what does that mean?
I love that.
I'm biased. If you put a word...
Stephanie, I'll pick you.
I like the wanderlust because it's a German word. It's this kind of, if you put a German word or French word, it sounds better, at some point. Wanderlust, and I still don't know what it means. Even if I speak both German and English, what does it mean?
There you go. Ben, how's your interaction wanderlust?
Well, I don't know. I'm reading it here saying they want to inject greater excitement, joy, and serendipity into screen experiences, which is great. Again, it's magnet poetry. I'm not quite sure how. I'm looking for the user guide at the bottom that shows me how I'm going to do that in 2021. I can't find it. Not to say it's not there. I'm sure there's a really good set of suggestions. It's all practical. It's pragmatic. I should give them the benefit of the doubt because you use such a bold term. There must be a lot of thought going into it. That's all I'm saying.
You're very, and I like that they put the word lust with the word injection. I think they're trying to conjure up something subconscious there. Just a hypothesis. Now, trend number 5, I think, was the one that caught our eye. Liquid infrastructure. Redesigning your infrastructure to deliver delight from the first moment to the last. Anyone?
Again, it's an entirely new concept. I love the bit on this page where they say, forget the last mile. Now it's all about the last few feet, the last few inches of the customer experience. I think it's getting a little bit personal.
It's exceedingly sexual at every turn.
Mix it with the lust. They're going to invade my last few inches. I am not sure. I want to keep protection of my last few inches. I went there too soon.
I'm glad you went there. I'm so glad. And of course, don't forget trend 6, empathy challenge. Mine and Stephanie's favorite, shaping the right narratives in a world of expectation and scrutiny. What does that have to do with empathy, Stephanie?
Not sure.
Right.
But it's kind of this kind of trendy buzzword that everyone puts everywhere at some point. So I'm like, whenever I see that word somewhere, I'm kind of reading it twice or 3 times to really understand what they mean, because I got the feeling that no one has the same even definition of empathy. Sometimes you see stuff that is like defined as empathy and it's just like sympathy or something. I've just seen Geoffrey's comment.
Yes,
Okay.
we've got Jeffrey chiming in on YouTube. If your comment's on LinkedIn, I can't put it up like this, but Jeffrey says, that's real dirty in there. It is. Ralitza asked if they jumbled random words to give the illusion of meaning. It does feel like that.
No, but if you read through the article, it's kind of really customer oriented, like this kind of B2C experiences. And for the people who, like me, work in more B2B or even enterprise kind of design, like no one cares about delight. My user would be super happy with Excel.
It just works.
They don't want to, they don't want to be delighted. They're happy actually with the new design because it looks better than before. But it's just like they want to get the stuff they need done by the end of the day. So this whole talk about empathy, delight, things like that is, I think, really end customer centric, something like that. But I always feel like it's far away from my reality because I work on these, as I say, Excel-like interfaces. So yeah.
Jeffrey's on a real roll. Jeffrey says, and by the way, I hate people.
Yeah, I hate people. Have you noticed on the empathy page they've put a Black Lives Matter picture as well because empathy, because we're great guys.
I hadn't clicked through to that.
Trend number 5, Black Lives Matter, yay! It's like we tick the box, we're good people.
Oh my gosh, they do have a picture of Black Lives Matter on the empathy page.
Yeah. I know it's a bit cringe, isn't it? It's a bit.
I can
cringe.
just imagine the white men sitting around a board table going, yeah, that's it. And I'm looking at some of the text. Design thinking has made empathy seem like something easily ticked off a list by equating it with listening. Yet empathy is not just listening, and nor is it a one-off exercise. empathy is a way of behaving. Well, that's actually not the definition of empathy. So can I just say, fuck all y'all?
But at least it's true. It's something you can like check. Okay, like design checklist, empathy checked, sprint one checked, wireframe checked. So I kind of agree
Sticky
with them
notes
on that
check.
part. Like, yeah.
Dingu says, could somebody remind me the name of this report? I couldn't find it online. Yeah, these URLs are too long for me to put up on the screen. But this is, I think if you Google Accenture Insights Interactive Fjord, which is FJORD, you might find it. So I apologize that I don't have an easy way to give everybody the URLs because they are very long. I'd like to jump to the next one if you guys don't mind. I am looking at a Medium article published through UX Planet, and it's called 2021 UI UX Design Trends and How to Make Them Work for You. And the first trend is remote and virtual for 2021. Ben first. Ben, how do you feel? Do you think we'll be remote and virtual in 2021?
Sorry, I just can't.
I'm gonna cry.
It's like
We lost him.
Is this a self-parodying thing? Is it a joke? Remote?
No.
Oh, please.
Okay.
I have nothing clever to say about this. Is it actually a joke? I don't know. Did you
I
write
don't
this,
know.
Debbie?
No, this is on Medium, and we're not going to pick on the person who wrote it. They have over 1,000 Medium claps, so it must be good. The same person's trend number 2 is AI and other tools to the rescue.
Okay.
Evidently, yes. Stephanie.
Got my attention.
Yeah, I've seen this in other ones, and I actually like the fact that this year people are trying to use AI to produce more accessible content, like auto-generated subtitles and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. Like that's one of the good things that AI is good at, is like speech to text. But then, like, all of the biases and everything we hear about AI and abuses and AI systems and like face recognition and stuff. This is if this is a trend, I want ethics as a trend as well. I think we have it in another kind of article. It was like ethics is a trend. Like, okay, but accessibility was a trend like last year.
It
They're
hurts.
just like throwing words.
It hurts. It burns. Gosh, I'm looking at this article, and they say trend number 3, advanced personalization, and I'll read you what it says under that a little bit. I'll voice act it. Personalization in design is an approach where a company or brand creates individual content and recommendations for each user based on provided information, date of birth, marital status, viewing and order history, etc. I'll stop there. So imagine that we're actually going to have stuff personalized for us based on our age and whether or not we're married. I don't know, Ben. Is that future really coming?
I swear this isn't real. This cannot be real.
It's real. I sent you this one.
Things they picked. Age of things like, I don't know, date of birth, marital status, so inside leg measurement, I don't know, your favorite Beatles album, hyper personalization all the time, people. I love it. Sold.
Stephanie, anything to add to that?
I live in Luxembourg, and like for 3 months, Amazon was trying to push Gummistiefeln. So it's like rubber boots. It's like, do you want a yellow one? Do you want a green one? Do you want a purple? Oh, maybe you really need the red one. I'm like, what? It's the same. Like, oh, do you want a fridge to go with the fridge you already bought? Maybe this fridge is getting bored or something. So I'm like, I would like to have actually personalization, and I'm like one of those people who's trying to train the algorithm. Like, I'm liking stuff on Instagram, I'm liking stuff on other places. Like, I'm liking movies I've already seen just to say, hey, algorithm, I like this movie, please. And yet I still get crappy recommendations. So I'm like, I don't know. I would actually, as a user, think that it would be interesting on some things, like more like things like order history, something like things based on birth date, and marital status is completely bullshit for me.
Yeah, I call it
And
lazy
like,
buckets.
the same for
I call
Yeah.
it lazy buckets because I found that as a 40-something-year-old woman, I get all these like, it's back to school time, or your college-age kid needs money. And it's like, I purposefully didn't have children. Like, how have people not figured that out from my shopping habits, that all of my children have 4 legs? I don't understand why I'm being sent these things. And I always say, if that's the way we're going to market to people, what about the people who wanted to have children and couldn't? Or what about the people who had a child pass away? You still want to send them a back to school email? That's cruel. That's not empathy. That's bullshit. Everyone is a fan of Ben's reactions. Well, I'd like to read you the next one. Number 4 from the same Medium article. Here's a big trend for 2021. Touchless interactions with voice user interfaces.
Nah, I'm calling bullshit. I'm sorry, because Fjord already promised us those last crucial inches. So I'm not down with touchless. I'm all about the touch. It's high touch.
Now you're telling us you're trying to touch the last inches.
Sorry. You got to touch the last inches. That's what Fjord told us. That's got to happen in 2021. We can't duck this, people. These are the trends. This is what's going to happen. And for different inches, you can think about how you do it for different people, whether they're married or not. It's all relevant. It's a big web of insights. I get it now. It's all falling into place. I just wasn't clever enough.
I think this
touch the inches.
the podcast will not be safe for work anymore.
I'm fine with that. Let's see. Okay, let's see what else was on that one, because this is long. Even more 3D and immersive experiences. And it looks like their example is the rounded corners of the new Mac OS. And Mac making more 3D icons because they have a drop shadow. That was their example. 3D. Where's the bevel and emboss? Who's old enough to remember when bevel and emboss was the coolest? Ben? Yes? Come on, Ben. You're only a little younger.
I'm living in 2021. I'm not signing up to this. I'm going.
Let's see what else. Physicality and realistic textures. So instead of having a background color, we're going to have a background texture. That's fantastic. I remember doing that on a website in 1996. Remember tiled backgrounds? Who's old enough,
Nice.
chat room, who's old enough for tiled backgrounds on a website? Yes, Shalene remembers that. Let's see.
Very nice.
Yeah, I love those actually. I hated flat design that because we removed all the texture and everything. It felt kind of meh. But now you can do them in CSS. That's the the main big difference is now you don't need an image background. You can do them all in CSS.
Let's see. They
And as we did
also they claim. Oh, it's funny. If you read this article, they have like 3D and super tech and animations and textures, and then the next thing it says, and unusual illustrations, and then it says UX simplification. So all of those are going to be the trends, but then we're also going to go for simplification. This is I'm going to bet on black and red at the roulette table.
That's right, covering all the bases. They got burned in 2020 with their predictions. They're just playing it safe.
Yeah. Oh,
Everything's
God.
going to happen, but nothing's going to happen.
Yes, I was right. See? It says prediction number 13, advanced onboardings. I don't know why we do so much onboarding. If we designed intuitive stuff, would we need so much onboarding? Stephanie, what do you think about onboarding for 2021?
Again, depends if you're doing an interface for a lot of people or if you're more into enterprise or B2B, because I know that some people in B2B especially, they actually expect training or something. Like you can't launch something new if you don't them. It's part of the process of, oh, you got the new tool, we are going to train. So you can do it as intuitive and can be super usable, and you can do like usability testing before that. They still kind of want to have this training just because it's part of the process. So, but it's not really onboarding, it's like really real training. But I feel like onboarding is a fun thing to design because you get to experiment with all of this cool little illustration and stuff. So maybe that's why it's overly designed. It's like, it's not really useful. I'm pretty sure most of the people will click the skip button. Also, I don't remember. I think it was Luke Wroblewski who wrote something on that, which was basically like, it's not worth teaching your whole UI to the people when they arrive because they're not even familiar with the concept.
Right.
So it's kind of better to give them like small nudges and small little pieces of onboarding while they're using it. Like, oh, let me teach you everything about my interface and all of the concept, but you've never seen the interface yet. It's like, yeah, too much information. Let me play with it first. So if advanced
and it's not
onboarding
intuitive,
means
so I
actually-
have to teach you.
Sometimes if you have to grasp new concepts, like I'm pretty sure the first time we went on Twitter or something, you had to grasp the concept of what's a tweet or something. So it's something completely new, like, or what's the name? Not TikTok, the other one. Snapchat. It's not really intuitive, but a lot of people are using it. So maybe you need an onboarding or something. So I'm not saying it's always bad, but I'm saying like a lot of onboardings are not at the right time, I think. It's like, hey, you don't know us. Let us teach you the whole interface. Okay.
Just a quick reminder, sorry to interrupt, we'll move on to another one, but just a reminder for especially those on YouTube or those not on YouTube yet, won't you please usability test the subscribe button? Make sure it works. Have empathy for the like button. Give it some love. You can join our Slack channel. And new for 2021, we have the tip jar. All of these videos are free. You're welcome to tip if you'd like. And also the YouTube now has super chats. But mostly we're hoping for the subscribers. I'm going to flip to another one that Stéphanie sent. This is another UX Planet article, 10 mobile UX trends for 2021. The first one is super apps. I'm not totally sure what that means, so I'm going to move on to number 2, video interactions. Video interactions. Do you think we'll see more video in 2021? Ben, I'm going to go with you on this hard-hitting question.
Hold on. You can't just say super apps and then brush it under the carpet.
All right, I'll go try to figure out what he means by that. Hold on. The rise of super apps.
I think it's stuff like WeChat, the stuff that's already existing in China. Like you have one app and you can do everything in it.
Here's the way that this person explains it. A super app is the opposite of a single purpose app. It's a multi-purpose app, creating an ecosystem covering all the user's needs so they don't have to go to any app ever again. And Stéphanie's right. The example they give is WeChat because it's a messenger, it's social media, it does payments. So Ben, super apps.
Oh, God. Do you know what this means? This gives license to every business around the world to get all the crap stuff they do and wrap it up into one bigger shitter app. I think that's what this means. If I'm a cynic.
The future is bloat.
No, we said UX simplification. Make up your mind, people.
Yeah,
I don't think the author of the different articles
they need to talk to each other. Yeah. So you're gonna uninstall every app on your phone but one super app, and it's gonna be simple to use with great onboarding. And then it was video interactions. I wonder if video will be important in 2021.
No, it's had its heyday. It's done. We're done here.
No,
I don't even want to see you now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Solomon in the LinkedIn chat says, I'm usually looking for new research discoveries in psychology, cognition, and perception. These clickbaity UX UI trend articles are becoming more and more underwhelming. Yes, that's why we are setting them on fire today, because they are just ridiculous. The next trend from this article, and I think this was one of Stephanie's favorites when she sent me these, and I'm going to read this to you. 3D graphics with a functional purpose. The role of 3D objects in design is changing. 3D objects are no longer only for the sake of decoration, they can serve a clear functional purpose. As a result, 3D objects have an opportunity to become a central part of the mobile experience. 3D objects with a purpose. Anyone want to jump on that?
Because they didn't have any purpose until this year. We were just throwing them in the app or something. Part of me actually understands a little bit. If you think about online shopping and stuff like that, you can do cool things with AR. So it's like previewing the sofa you want to buy somewhere in your flat. So I kind of understand where it's going, but like with a functional purpose is basically acknowledging that up until now they didn't have any purpose. And I don't think so, actually. I don't remember which website. I've seen a lot of 3D really, really cool experience, like website where you can customize your bike, where you can customize a knife or something like that, or even I think Nike has this kind of shoe builders, or like if you think about buying a car, there's already this kind of 3D graphics with a functional purpose. So
yeah, but
Yeah,
but let's
I'm not
pretend
sure.
it's new. Ben, anything to add there?
I have no words. I have no words. I guess
Why
it's
did we
like
bring
this
you
is
on?
it's like it's just a
Well, that's
parodying
him.
I don't know who are these people? Who are these people?
I don't want to name them. I don't want to name. Let me give you a few more from this article. Number 4, 10 mobile trends. Remember, this is mobile UX trends for 2021. Number 4 is fighting misinformation. And their example is Donald Trump. Number 5 is sophisticated voice-based assistant. Number 6, cross-platform app optimization. Number 7, useful data visualization. Yes, I like when data visualizations are useful.
I
Do you know
kind
what I
of
like
feel
the
like
most?
we are trying.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Ben?
go ahead.
There's my favorite sentence in this whole article is number 5, sophisticated voice-based assistant, and the narrative opens up. Voice-based AI assistant? Really? It's a 2016 trend. You're right. Voice-based assistants aren't something new. ... And it just contradicts itself in the first sentence. It's saying, here's a trend. It's not really a trend. I don't know why we're even here. It doesn't agree with itself.
No, these people undid themselves. Sadly, they're predicting neomorphism for 2021. We burnt that one down last year on this podcast because it's not accessible. If it's not accessible, let's not make it a trend. Augmented reality. They're predicting augmented reality for 2021. Ben, augmented reality.
Augmented reality. It's look, everyone has been just crying out for this forever. And if only someone could just perfect it and put it in our frail little hands, the world would just be changed forever. So could this be the year that finally AR becomes a thing that I've been asking for and getting all wistful about? I can only hope, Devi. I can only hope.
I remember seeing AR in 2012, and then I'm like, how come this hasn't seemed to go very far since then? Anything you want to add to this, Stephanie, about AR?
I've seen lenses that you can put in your eyes for AR or something. I've had the what was it called, Google Glass, something like that. I tried those, but I really hate all of those kind of AR glasses because they're basically built for people who don't wear glasses. So I think like less than half of the population, to be honest, because I kind of think I know more people who need glasses than people who don't need some of those. So I'm curious, but I also think it's quite frightening to say, okay, you will have those kind of lenses and augment the reality. And a lot of those trends, I'm like, okay, we really need to make ethics and
Right. Where's that?
biases and stuff like that into trends, because as soon as you'll have all of those AR stuff, it's gonna be like, what's the name of this show where they're trying to push technology with really horrible Black Mirror? So I see the kind of Black Mirror potential of those. So I think it could actually be a good trend, but as Ben said, we've been promised this for like 8 years already or something. So
yeah,
maybe.
And the last thing on that person's article before I move to the next one is security and privacy. They believe that will be a trend for 2021.
Oh, good.
I hope. I hope.
Yes.
It would be nice.
There's that ethics you've been looking for. Yes. So now I'm going to move to another one. This is from, fittingly, a website called UIUXtrend.com. And this is their top trends of 2021. I'm going to read you the 5 top UI trends of 2021 and get reactions from each of you. So get ready. The top UI trends of
or UX?
Yeah, I'm going to start with UI, and then they have a UX list. UI trends are bright and colorful tones on a white background, creative and relevant images with human touch, nature and sustainability, cards of multiple fixed dimensions, and huge typography, which I guess has to fit on a card of a fixed dimension. How about that? Stephanie, how do you feel about those UI trends?
My brain is like screaming accessibility at some of those. I like bright and colorful tones, like my website is yellow and purple. And I think if you know about accessibility and everything, you can do amazing stuff with those. So I'm actually curious to see if people will be able to use bright and colorful tone. But the fun part is the example is actually a really boring website, and it's what I would call pastel. So I'm a little bit confused now. It's like, this is not bright and colorful. This is kind of pastel blue and really boring. I don't know. One of my clients would call this molehill gray, something like that. She had really good names. But yeah, I like the nature.
I was just going to say, looks like my boyfriend is joking that for 2021, he's for anti-aliasing.
Yeah.
I hope that becomes a trend. Good luck, honey. Ben, how do you feel about those UI trends? Colorful tones, relevant images, nature, fixed dimension cards, but huge typography.
I like this notion of having nature and huge typography. I think what happens at the intersection of those two things? I'm not sure. Can we imagine that? I don't know. Where's the nature bit come from? What's that got to do with it?
It says, I guess, because it said nature and sustainability. I think pretending you're eco is really in style.
Yeah. So like with Fjord and the Black Lives Matter photo, I think to fulfill this trend, you just kind of click on pictures of, I don't know, polar bears, penguins, cute little meerkats doing that. You know that kind of thing? Just like that. It's so cute. People love that. Orangutans. I could just list animals for a while. I know lots of animals.
Then you have to have one picture of like somebody stopping a whaling boat.
Yeah, and a bird covered in oil.
Bird in oil, yes.
I'm not going to judge. We don't mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'd like to read you the top UX design trends of 2021. And in fact, just to make this extra fun, let's superimpose my screen. So here we go. The top UX design trends are accessibility, UX writing, information architecture, remote UX research, voice UI, VR and AR, and evidently The top UX trend of 2021 is UX is dead.
Well, on that for a bit.
The end.
There it is, people.
They say no.
Somebody say something. I'm joking. Yes, I have water, honey, not you.
I'm seeing what do they know that we don't? That's what I want to know. We've missed something. We've missed a memo. Something catastrophic's going to happen this year. some
I
some
still think
kind of UX Noah's Ark thing going to happen by the end of 2021.
Oh my god. So there won't be a 2022 list because UX is dead?
No, not for UX. It's done.
Oh god.
I'll turn off the light.
My career is over.
It's done.
Oh.
It's all there in writing.
Thanks to UIUXtrend.com. Here's what they say to go in a little bit deeper on that. I think I can press this button and you'll all see it. UX is not yet a necessity for most of the companies not in the tech industry. Well, that's not true. The fallout from the coronavirus is hammering a lot of companies, especially those in service. So is UX dead or not? Why are you asking me? This is supposed to be a prediction. You tell me, you don't ask me. Oh, it hurts.
Oh
my God.
It's true that it's true that a lot of kind of company cut, in Luxembourg actually. I know people who cut their UX budget when the crisis started because design is all of a sudden not a priority, which is quite stupid if you ask me, but yeah, sure, you do you. But this is not a kind of prediction. This is what happened this year. And I hope this prediction isn't true. I kind of hope that
they've been saying UX will die every year. Every year there's somebody who says UX is going to die. My favorite was a guy who I don't like, who I blocked on LinkedIn, who failed at UX and moved into product management and design sprints. And in 2018, he wrote this big Medium article about how UX is going to die. And then it didn't happen and nobody held him accountable. I want him held accountable.
Right.
Is that asking too much? Come on. Let's...
I think
I
we're laughing at this, but this could all end up this could be the leading signal of a complete catastrophe. And we're just sat here mocking it. Last year, so I'm going to talk about last year's trends very, very briefly. Do you know the one I sent you from Forrester saying 2020, quarter of the world's CX professionals are going to lose their jobs? I think they made this prediction around the 13th of February. I'm going to put my conspiracy hat on now. Very soon after that, COVID hit. And so it comes back to, what would you do in the world to make sure that your 2020 trends came true? So I think they cooked up a virus in a lab. It's all Forrester's fault. So be worried if UX doesn't start dying by February, March time.
Ben's figured it out. End of the movie. Yeah. Just so that we all have our better halves involved in this, it looks like we've got a Sophie Smithwell over in LinkedIn commenting on this as well, who I believe is Ben's other half.
Is she roasting me?
No, she's not roasting you, but LinkedIn is usually like 3 minutes delayed. YouTube is 10 seconds, so she's back on Drop Shadow. She wrote Drop Shadow, the best thing since word art. So she's super asynchronous from us. That's why I remind everybody, please subscribe on YouTube. LinkedIn is like 3 minutes behind. The comments are like way off. Let's see. So there you go. UX may or may not die. Stephanie.
Yeah, I still like the fact that 7, 8, and 9, which are, 6, 7, 8. So accessibility, UX writing, information architecture. Those are not trends.
These are day-to-day jobs.
If they're trends,
that's kind of the core of... Yeah, it's like this should be core of the design process and the kind of what designers do on a day-to-day basis. I think it's kind of sad that those are trends because it kind of means that people don't get to practice UX writing, or they don't even get paid for a lot of accessibility things. Like when I used to work in agency, like clients would try to remove the accessibility part from
The proposal.
that they invoice the proposal, and then usability testing, like slick, slick. Do we really need wireframes as well? Oh, here goes information architecture! Yay! So
Well, I would have to
if
say.
you're good at your
Oh,
job,
go
you
ahead,
wouldn't need
Ben.
to test it. I'm saying if you're any good at your job, you wouldn't need to test it, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm a genius. I don't.
that's why we are going to die.
I don't have to talk to
No more
users
UX.
at all. I'm a genius. This I hate to completely roast these people, but their website is uiuxtrend.com, and they think information architecture is a trend.
I mean, it kind of is. I mean,
Well, it should be a trend every year. Like, this isn't a
it's a trend
special
that caught
year.
on.
Yeah, right. Like eating. Like eating food is a trend. Like we
It's a
should
trend,
keep doing
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
think we need an
it means we
alternative
see
trend.
more post-its.
Oh, small posters. That's good. Now, there's another one that Stephanie sent me. This is from Envision, the people who make the prototyping software. And it looks like their trends are really a bunch of questions that lead you to download a white paper. So having not downloaded the white paper, I am going to read you the questions, and you'll all have to just muse on the questions that they claim their report will answer. Will design systems unlock team potential? Will design hold its seat at the table? Will organizations create systemic change? Will generalists be the key to collaboration? Will work and life be separate again? Will digital first remain a competitive advantage? What does digital second look like? And that's my question. And finally, Envision's question is, will we continue to focus on what matters? Ben, will we, I know this is a trend and it's a shot in the dark, but will we focus on what matters?
No, I'm not sure. I think the whole trend is that there's uncertainty around trends this year. That's the hyper trend. There's always the hyper something. What I'm getting from this is that these people are confused, and they've written a white paper full of questions, and perhaps they want us to answer it and write a white paper for them. So that's why they want your email address. They're looking for competent people who can figure it out for them.
That's good. I like that. Yes. Learn how the key themes from 2020 will impact your work in the new year. And then there's some sort of white paper form that isn't loading on my computer because I opened a private browser. There you go. Stephanie, will work and life be separate again?
Was it ever? I'm like, I'm not even sure. Do they? Yeah, I think I downloaded the white paper and then I forgot to open it and I cleaned my MacBook. I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay. We
bad at
forgive
doing my
you.
homework. Yeah, but it's a really weird question. Like, is it linked to people working remotely, so everything is mixed at some point? It's funny because this year we've seen a lot of articles and talks about how to keep like work versus life balanced, and even if you work from like from your home, like there were interesting tips from people who when they go to work they usually have a lanyard, and so what they do is like basically they wear the lanyard when they work so that the children understand, oh no, daddy mommy is actually working because I see the lanyard. So I found it was actually a super cute and really smart idea to say, okay, lanyard equals
Boundaries.
work or something like that. So I don't know. I think there were some interesting things on that this year, and I think we had a lot of interesting kind of advice if you ever want to go work fully remotely. It's like it used to scare me. Like when they told me I will work from home, I was super scared. Like to be honest, like the fear of feeling alone and all of those. So I'm really grateful for all of those articles because there was actually a lot of interesting things that was written this year. But still, I'm not sure like we merged the boundaries of work and life that much. Not at least not for me. So maybe.
I'm going to throw a question at Jeffrey, and that is, Jeffrey, sorry, not Jeffrey. Jeffrey's in the chat room. Ben, will organizations create systemic change, and how will Envision claim they're a part of systemic organizational change?
That's a really good question, Debbie, and I've given this a lot of thought. Again, I don't think they know. So I've just been scrolling through the article. I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think at any point they actually claim they have the answers to any of these questions.
Oh.
I don't think so. They committed to explore the themes. I'm not sure if explore means we simply don't know, and it's just the white paper is a contents page with some questions on it. I don't know.
All right, I guess we'll never know.
We're exploring it for them.
I'm going to have to move on. Okay, the next is a Medium article from UX Planet. Imagine that. Imagine that. An article from UX Planet. Who'd have thought? And this one is called Top 7 UX Trends to Watch in 2021. And number 1 is UX writing and microcopy will mature. Evidently, writing was immature. Ben, help us out, Ben.
I can't pick up my mobile phone nowadays without having raspberries blown at me, people calling me Mr. Poopy Pants, all things like that. I'm just tired, sick to death of this immature language. So I do hope that UX writing and microcopy will finally mature, because you guys just need to grow the hell up.
Yeah, Sophie, stop calling Ben Mr. Poopy Pants.
Right.
What
Yes.
app does that?
What?
What app does that? So I never download it.
It was not an app. I think it's the people. Trend number 2, voice commands. Wow. Voice commands.
Ooh.
Wow, what could I do with that? Sorry. I've had a smart home for like 4 years, so the idea that voice commands is a trend for 2021 just makes me yawn. Oh, here we go. Mobile first design is more critical than ever. Due to the pandemic situation, more and more individuals are adopting mobile as their main device to consume information, as mobiles are more accessible, personal, and they're almost like an extension of oneself.
Ooh.
Ben, mobile first. It's the first you're hearing
Not
of
in
it.
my lifetime. Not in my lifetime. It's too much too soon. We're just not ready for this. It's some kind of unicorn end state. I don't know. Sounds like BS to me. Never.
It's an impossible future. What about you,
It's
Stephanie? Do you think we could use more mobile in 2021?
But I'm lost because I thought 2020 was about no more mobile first, but content first. So are we going back to mobile first? I'm confused.
Maybe
now.
content was first and it had its year, and now it has to go to the end of the queue, and something else is first. Yes.
But
Okay.
I thought kind of, I don't know. It's a weird trend.
Yes, well, you're going to love this one. Number 4 on this article, which has received 114 claps, is UX will be intentional about ethical design. We're going to be intentional, but will we be ethical? Ben?
I just... do you know this stuff? You just reach a ceiling. I think I just reached my ceiling. I don't know.
No more bullshit can be added at this point.
What do you expect me to fucking say about this? I just don't know. I don't know. I think there's an internet generator for this stuff. You just kind of press a button, load in some key terms like ethics, last few inches, whatever. You just press the button and this kind of happens.
More inches. Stephanie, how about you? Will we be intentional about ethics? Will Facebook turn it around and become that ethical company we've always dreamed of?
No.
Thank you.
They will not.
Thank
There's
you.
no hope there, I think. We're just like too deep. Also, they rolled actually this year started with a new WhatsApp update, which is
Right.
basically, oh, you know what? If you don't accept to give us all the data, just don't use the app anymore. I'm like, uh-huh. But unfortunately, living in Europe, so they're like, you can't do that in Europe. So they, okay, so we'll only do that if you communicate with enterprises. So they kind of, I think, now have two versions: the European one and the other one. So I wish this would be a trend, but honestly, I think we'll still keep seeing data minings and stuff. But what I kind of hope is that we'll find also like more alternatives to those things. It's like a lot of people are already talking about Signal and Telegram and stuff like that. So much that actually there's a company that is called Signal that has nothing to do with the Messenger app. But since someone said, you should totally use Signal, and he had a lot of followers, that company's stock option rised all of a sudden. I was
I heard about that.
Yeah,
what?
I saw that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I want to say quickly, I tried to sign on to Signal a few years ago, and the first thing it did was notify all my contacts that I was using Signal. And I thought that kind of undid the whole privacy and security thing, so I uninstalled it. The end of
Really
that
good.
story. That's end.
Perfect.
yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Same for Telegram. Did the same 2 days ago.
Yeah, I like Telegram, but I did notice it's like, hey, someone you once emailed is now on Telegram. And I'm like, I don't care. Before we go into our last few minutes of exciting stuff, I want to remind everybody some things that are coming on the podcast, which means I have to look at my phone calendar and tell you what's coming. Of course, tomorrow is Tuesday, which means it's office hours Ask Me Anything, and all of these are 6:30 Italy time. Do the math based on where you live. Wednesday is going to be, we're calling this one The Unseen Steps Towards a UX Career. And this will have Scott Smallman back. He was on last year in episode 61, I think, when we talked about juniors. Let's see, Tuesday the 19th, office hours. Wednesday, I canceled or rescheduled because that is the American inauguration and I'm expecting another coup. So I don't want to be live streaming at that time because we might be crying. So let's move to Monday, January 25. We're going to have Shannon on. Shannon, are you ready? Talking about UX and conversion rate optimization. January 26th, office hours Ask Me Anything. January 27, the disproportionate pros and cons of UX boot camps with Chad, who had a terrible experience at a boot camp. And I've started, also mark your calendars, February 1, Ask Amy Santee anything about UX research. February 3, UX recruiters, do's and don'ts. And I think that's as far as I've gotten, but I am planning another one with Seth Finkel. For those of you who watched last year, our resident psychologist, but not UX person, Seth Finkel will be back. Shannon says ready. Good. Now, sorry, go ahead. Somebody had something to add? No, me. Okay, so another one that Stephanie sent me was a website's article on what they think UX is going to look like by the year 2030. And that's just so that we forget to come back in, somebody donated. Thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey donated. It's very sweet of you. Oh my gosh, thank you. Our first donation, everybody. That's this channel's very first donation, and it's Jeffrey, and I will treasure you forever. Thank you. So that's so we forget in the year 2031 to come back and say that they were wrong. But here they're suggesting that UX has been redefined, and that we'll see new UX jobs like, and I definitely want to hear Ben's thought on this, new UX jobs like user experience historian.
What does that even mean? A user experience historian, like, or some kind of fucking archaeologist? What? With an iPad? Is that it? Like Indiana Jones with an iPad? Is that what we're going for here?
I like that.
What do they do? What do they do?
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
This whole article is pretty terrible. They've listed basically everything that's already happened, and it sounds like they're claiming more of these things will happen in the next X years. So I'm going to switch in our last few minutes to something Stephanie had sent me, which was, let me put this up on the screen. Stephanie, let's see. Stephanie, you might be muted. So first let me show this and then I'll bring you guys back and you'll be unmuted. I think I forgot to turn on sound for this particular screen. This is glass morphism. And the idea here is lots of things are really see-through, which can't be good for accessibility. I guess neumorphism was maybe a little bit too strong with its colors and shading. So let me bring our guests back and turn their microphones back on. Hey, Stephanie, what's up with glass morphism, and is it a good trend?
I have no idea. I just found that as listed as a trend in an article, and I'm like, wait, this looks a lot like what we used to have in Vista, I think, where you can switch on and off something called aero mode or something. It was quite annoying actually, and it was completely destroying your GPU, so you wanted to switch it off. So I'm wondering, I think it's one of those, dribble trends where people will try to replicate it, but I've already seen some people trying to replicate this in CSS. And it's completely destroying your browser because it's using like blur filters and stuff. So don't do it, maybe. And yeah, as you said, accessibility for this one is really bad. But I don't know. I think it's interesting that people are trying to experiment on Dribble. But the problem is Dribble is so powerful now that some experiment kind of bleed out to reality, to website, and it's becoming a little bit weird. Also, I've always don't you kind of wonder when you see those movies where they have like those transparent screens and they're reading something and there's clearly someone behind them? I was like, I can't even read something on my screen when there's someone behind my screen just because I don't like that. So if you can see through and see the whole body, it's like, how can you read or something like that? So I don't understand those things.
And we have a great comment from LinkedIn quickly because it's Sophie, a Sophie Smithwell, if anyone's heard of her. You can tell where she is in the scheme of time because she says UX is dead. Can someone check on the writer of that article? It sounds like a suicide note. Ben, what do you know? Go ahead.
So this thing about glass morphism.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
It makes sense that if UX is dead, that accessibility has to become inaccessibility. It's the digital Ragnarok. I've just figured it out. That's what's happening. The birds are going to fall out of the skies. Was it Surtur
Right.
rise up with his big flaming sword and all of that stuff?
Yeah,
Loki will arrive
makes
with the
sense.
army of the dead.
Yeah, so I always say the 4 horsemen of bad UX: frustration, confusion,
Hey.
disappointment, and distraction. And now they've truly summoned the apocalypse. Everything is dead, and all of the trends for 2021 have already happened. As far as I can tell. I didn't hear anything innovative in there. I didn't hear anything that was really fresh. It was like, this is happening and there will be more of it.
Yeah.
I think maybe we should
Everything
just like
It's always
stop.
yeah.
We only
I
have
don't
a
know why
couple of
people
minutes
keep
left.
on wanting to do those.
Yeah, I don't know why people do this, because the great thing is we get to come back in a year and go, remember that? Remember that? Remember this webpage I can pull up and name this person out loud and say they predicted this thing and it didn't happen, like Mr. 2018 UX will die and design sprints will reign the world? Ben.
That's what a UX historian would do. See, we're doing it already. We're UX historians. See, we laugh at these things, but they come to pass in the end. Careful what we wish for.
I need to. Yeah.
Amazing.
Let's update our LinkedIn bios.
It's all come together. Unbelievable. So while I remind everybody to please subscribe on for the YouTube channel, empathize with the like button, really helps in the YouTube algorithm. And of course, leave a tip if you want to be as cool as Jeffrey. Let me give some last moments to Stephanie and Ben individually to let everybody know how can we find you or follow you. Stephanie, you've got a cool website. How can people find you or follow you?
Yes, stephaniewalter.design. And yeah, there you have links to Twitter, LinkedIn most of the time. That's where I spend a lot of time.
That's where I see you. And Ben, where can we find you?
Yeah, sure. So I don't really Twitter or anything nowadays. I kind of gave up on that. I'm a LinkedIn kind of guy. You'll find me on there being snarky. So find me on there. Send me some
Love
snark.
it. Love the Ben Smithwell Snark Club. Join the club. So if there's nothing else for anybody to say, we are technically out of time. Stephanie and Ben, thank you so much for coming on and taking the piss and laughing at these things and laughing at ourselves. Thanks to a very active chat room on both platforms for joining in with us. And of course, special thanks to Jeffrey for being our first donor. Now I get to buy some delicious cheese. Yay cheese. Thanks again, everybody. I'm going to play us out of here, but I hope to see everybody tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Italy time for office hours. Ask Me Anything. Bye. Thanks for watching. Delta CX is available for consulting and projects related to CX and UX strategy, leadership, training, problem finding, problem solving, and innovation. Learn more at deltacx.com.